Next, I'd like to introduce a very special guest, Rodney Charters, ASC. I have a few notes here. I'd like to say first that it really takes a lot of guts to get up here and do a live presentation, live demo. I've invited dozens of ASC cinematographers, and there's only a few that have been up to the challenge. So I thank you for that, Mr. Charters. But let me tell you about a little bit about Rodney. He's originally from New Zealand. He's gained great renown as a cinematographer. He photographed and directed some episodes of 24. He shot many other series, including Roswell, Magnum P.I., Shameless, The Pretender, as well as the feature Going in Style. He's won the ASC Career Achievement Award in television, and he's here to share his experience with us. So take it away, Rodney.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a bit of a trick to get invited to this stage. I've not actually been in it, and I have to say I haven't been in a real stage for a long time. As you understand, very few of us get that privilege. I'm here because my dad was a photographer, and he gave me a camera when I was very young. And the time that I did this, it was the early years of film, and he had a 16mm Bolex, so of course I got the 16mm Bolex and made movies and so on. But I was probably one of thousands that had that opportunity at the time. I shot docos all over the world, and I was always looking for found light. How was the easiest way to get in and out with the minimum fuss? We never had a crew. It was me and the sound man and the producer, and traveling all over the world, lugging all that gear, so it was minimalized. Lots of Lowell stuff out of New York. And I traveled some weird places, had fun. Drifted into drama, kind of by accident, and have stayed ever since. But what I really find now at this point in time, we are being challenged by what we used to know, and so I'm reminded of this Charles Darwin quote. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change. And if anything speaks to this age right now, it does. We are on the cusp of who knows what with what's happening on the planet right now. We love this business. We want to continue doing it. And some of us are going to figure out how to do it in different parts of the world where perhaps never was done before. So I got off, and for the first time, here are the facts. 786 movies last year released. Worldwide streaming now surpasses box office, and it's going to go way in the other direction. Every minute, 350 hours of video stories are uploaded to the net. Every minute, somebody with their phone is telling their story. And out of the millions of people that are doing this every day, there are going to be geniuses like our friend from Korea. What an extraordinary film. And it breaks the language barrier. We are children of this planet. We have to wake up and figure that out and somehow solve all the future problems. And Netflix are paving the way, and Amazon, they're all in 150 different countries now. And I went to Europe. Well, look at QB. There's a familiar face. Kiefer's jumped on board. So that comes out again to distract us from whatever medium we use to watch. I personally love streaming. Who doesn't? Hands up. You know? I went and saw a film print in a theater the other day, and I was appalled at how disgusting it looked. I got to tell you, it's over for film. It really is. And you know, there are people who are passionate about it, but it drove me crazy. It was beautifully filmed, but it didn't really work for me. So I went to Camera Mars this year, and friends of mine at Atomos, the people that make the little monitors, they got on top of this, they said, oh, these Polish boys have been using our kit on a movie, and they want to come and meet you. And so they drove down from Warsaw, and we had a little session. This is them. Christoph is the only name that I know. He's the one on the right, I think. Well, they were all in uniform. So this is what they made. What's amazing about these boys is that they're basically stunt guys, but they've been in the industry in Poland for years. And they said, you know what, we want to make a movie about the saber. And so how do we do that? We don't have any money. So they bought a small camera. So they sold this movie to History Channel. And I won't tell you yet how much they cost to make this movie. It's part documentary because it's about the making of the swords and the history of it and so on. But there's an enormous amount of drama. About 80% of it is drama. And they did this over 29 days in Poland. It was shot on a GH5, which is the camera that's the smaller one with a small chip. And I've brought along the big full chip camera. This is the only camera of the DSLRs which is now supported by Netflix. So this is an important move forward. Netflix, we have to abide by their rules. It was so much enthusiasm with these guys, and they made the lens themselves. They said, we want to shoot anamorphic, which they did, and you won't believe it when I show you the kit. It's fantastic. But it's all about the passion. But what's exciting about this is that it's happening in Poland. It was commissioned there. Netflix now has an American series, a 24-like series coming out of South Africa called Queen Sonos, completely commissioned and shot there with a completely African cast. Anyhow, this is the guys out of their dress up. So they collectively shot. They built 2 of these cameras, and we've got this online. If you want to go look at it, come ask me and I'll send it to you. So they had a 7-inch Atmos as their master recorder. They shot 60p and in 4K. But this is the lens. So they've got a booster here, and then they've got a 40-year-old Nikon. They had two lenses, an 85 and a 50, both 1.4s. And then they have this Kowa projector lens, and then they have a kind of focusing system. A company in England makes it. And so this was their kit. But when they came to their interiors, they said, we need to light this. We don't really understand lighting. We know what we like. So they hired a gaffer. Good plan. And the gaffer came in with a truck and gave them what they wanted and a hard light. I think they had they had whatever that lovely M light is. Yeah, perfect. And plug it in the wall. And they ran it on putt-putts. And that were their shafts whenever they needed them. And look at this for their crane. It's fantastic. It's a locally made gimbal and some kind of arm. They did the same thing, tracking in a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Lots of gimbal work. Anyhow, I bring that up because this is the future in many parts of the planet right now. And I think it's really exciting if things aren't working out, you have a job here, and somebody says in Poland, listen, we'd love to have an American gaffer come in and play. It's a great opportunity to go all over the world because Netflix is funding these things like crazy. But $130,000 is what they made this thing for. And it's fantastic. And it's playing all through Europe now. And hopefully they're getting paid, which is the important part, right? I love found light. And I came upon this guy. I think he's an Australian. He's living in Tokyo. He does games as a conceptualizer, creates worlds. But he's wandering around Tokyo at night, and he said, this is the most extraordinary, beautiful experience. I got to photograph this. And so he's brought out a book called Tokyo, 3 little syllables. And you can find these images online, Liam Wong. There's thousands of them. Which brings me to the whole concept of lighting is all about finding light. And now that we have cameras with larger chips, we're working at high ISOs. The VariCams, of course, have got that extra boost. The new Alexa LF can comfortably work at a couple of thousand ISO. You have 1.8 lenses. There isn't anywhere you can't shoot. Anywhere you can walk and see, you can shoot without big lights. Certainly you need to augment and take care of things, but one of the things that happened to Camera Maj is Lawrence Shear won for Joker, for cinematography, and he also told us about Shot Deck. Who knows about Shot Deck here? You should get on board with this thing, okay? 1,500 movies at counting, with around 100 shots sometimes 50 clips from Blu-rays, all online in a fully digitized database that you can search by mood, shot count, 2 shots, 3 shots. And so this is what it looks like when you open it. You get on board. You have to go and get a beta release. They'll give you a little login, and then you're good to go. But it's full of the most beautiful images. You can check which movie, what the DP was, what the camera shot it with, and so on. And it just, how much of our world in cinema has actually found light? People took the time to wait, right? And yes, occasionally I think, okay, yeah, I'm sure they used a little guy in here because that's what we do. We like to have a little light in our hand, and we just augment. But often this is like this, just extraordinary. A lot of depth of field here. Back in the old days, anamorphic. Yes, I think we put the green in, but hey, that's what we do. But I could find that kind of thing in any town or street that I walk down, driving at night, very early morning in New York, and hard light from the sun. How much fun it is if you can stage it in such a way to get away with it. I did on this movie in New York with these guys, and we shot in the diner, the famous diner, and we got away with it took half a day to do, and we cheated, but I used the sun the whole time. It was amazing. Tiny bit of bounce, I had to do that, but anyhow, Shot Deck. I just go to shotdeck.com and tell them you're in the business and you want to get on board. It will blow your brain, literally, how much imagery is there for the taking to have you just percolate about how you might approach a scene or put together, build up a deck to present to people, right? Yes, I'm sure he augmented that little hit there. But it was probably there, though, really low down on the spectrum. Who's seen Monos, the movie Monos? It's a hard watch, but that is an extraordinary movie. Beautiful, extraordinary camera work. Mandalorian. Now here's a new scene. Who's seen The Mandalorian? Anybody work on it? I did have a key grip who worked on it, and he told me about it. Okay, there's this volume, bigger than this stage, 175 feet in a circle, not closed completely. Ceiling as well. This is a $4 million hit, I'm sure. But they couldn't have done this series without it because, hey, who wants to shoot at twilight for 12 hours? No worries, right? So they could do whatever they want in this world. And guess what? They're not using lights anymore because this guy has a fully reflective face mask. And where are you going to put the lights? So everything that is lighting him is coming off the screen. So this could be a complete wall of LEDs right now with 20 guys out the back running it, I have to say. With full articulation as the camera moves up and down. When you look here, you see these little dots in the ceiling. They have to paint them out. But those are the cameras that tell the camera where it is in the virtual world. So the parallax is taken care of, right? So you can do moving and tracking, and it just goes on and on. This is a tiny bit I stole, but you get the idea. So that whole world back there is just on the screen. And yes, they had the spaceship right there, and you can see what's going on. If I go back and run that again for you. He's walking 2 feet away from the end of the wall, but you have no sense of that. Yes, there are lights in this. It's another Kiwi, Baz, who lit this. But all of this motion was simulated, the tracking was perfect, and you felt that he was riding. Who ever worked with Conrad? Some of you guys? What an extraordinary human being. What Conrad loved was hard light. I got to sit on a set in Vancouver with him for 3 days, and it was the most amazing experience, as you can imagine. Beautiful, beautiful man, brilliant lighter. gave us some images that are in shot deck, a lot of them. Searching for Bobby Fischer. This was him using hard light with mirrors. He loved mirrors. You get the sense of that. Now this guy, I want to show you this because this guy, I watched his reel the other day and blew me away. This is a young commercial cinematographer, but this is extraordinary. Bear with me, it's a good message. Put the sound up, please, if you can.
The CDC is investigating another death caused by the mysterious virus sweeping the country. It's not yet
This
known
is
exactly
about
how the
old
virus is
glass,
transmitted.
old painterly impressionist lenses from 40 years ago when we could use fluorium oxide and arsenic and all those things. This lens on this camera will drive a Geiger counter crazy. More of it comes out the front than out the back. I was so happy about that.
Listen, you need to get to bed earlier.
But this is beautiful work done as a commercial for an important message. Powerful storytelling, simply told, and there's not a lot of lighting going on here, guys. This is all about not lighting. This is about being in the space. Yes, there was probably an 18K coming through the window, but maybe not. It didn't have to be anymore. So it's a girl in distress,
So good, Haley Bird.
and you can assume what you assume.
Stay home and get some rest.
Very shallow depth of field. Outrageously difficult for focus pullers, especially with these full frame cameras now, when you're working at 1:2. But the look is unbelievable. And this is spherical, it's not anamorphic. The way this changes is quite fantastic. I mean, I happily watch commercials of this class. You know what I mean? Four and a half minutes of the story. I won't take you all the way through the other half because it repeats. Because it's not what you thought it was. It's about cyberbullying. So the whole commercial runs with the email clips coming into the girl. But I just thought this guy's work was amazing. Paul Myers. I suppose it's Myers, is Myers. But you get the picture. So the rest of it plays with these email clips coming in from everybody else in the class, shaming her for something she did. This is it, Lightbridge. Okay, this is a fascinating resolution for bounce light. Two companies currently sell this. My dear friends over there, Dado, also make these. They have the same fixtures. And Jacob here, representing BB&S, and Jacob Ballinger from Vienna, has put this kit together. I'm in love with this thing. What's it called? The compact?
CBL1 compact beam light.
Okay. Batteries. It's a 7-degree beam, right?
That one, yes.
They're putting out a bicolor version of this.
Yes.
And,
7 degree.
and this is a light you want to have around. It's relatively cheap.
$450.
There you go.
40 watts.
This is a really aggressive light, and I'm just bouncing it into a softy here. Oh yeah, okay. This is, please forgive me, this is not going to be a lighting demo. We did play with this the other night, but it took us 4 hours, and we had a whole crew, and it was fun. But one of the things I learned about this was the fact that I can't have a hard time getting lights in this position once a real camera is all built up. That kind of, you need a ring light. But nobody wants to carry a ring light all the time. So the beautiful thing is this thing dims way down, and I don't know where the camera is at the moment, but well, there, you can see what's happening to it there. We've got a lot of stuff that I'd love to get rid of, but anyhow,
We can do that.
what I wanted to do here is, okay, so this is 1-2 right now, I think, isn't it?
Alex, let's bring down the fill light.
Sorry, it's me. I'm trying to protect the lens because I don't have a full kit here. Where's the iris? Yeah, 1-2, 1-2. By the way, who needs cataracts? I am now got the eyes of a 30-year-old. I did this over the last 3 weeks, brand new eyes. It's spectacular. Unbelievable, 20/20 vision up to my fist. After that, I got to put readers on. But I had to get the best lenses. 11-minute operation, spectacular. I can't recommend it enough. If anyone's thinking about it or worried about their eyes, first off, when the first one was done, I had a 5600 on this eye, and I had about a 3200 on this eye. It was radical. I had no idea that my eyes were cheating me so badly. I thought, oh my God, that's why that scene was like that. Anyhow, let me get a little closer here. See if I can't because there it is. Let's move it forward a bit.
Is my mic up, Chris? Yeah, I can hear it
All right.
now. I don't know if you heard me before, but our lovely model is Crystal Elling.
Let me see if I can. I will use it just a sec. Yeah, put it back on. Let me just see if those eyes are in there. This should come up. Is this as far as this thing goes? And we got a little bit more. Let me come up a bit higher. It's a bit naughty to be looking down there like that. So we're playing here. I don't want to. So let's just raise this. Just go straight up and sit it. Yeah. One of the things about these is this is a softie. And I was not going to do the hard on her for here, but I would want to take away a lot of this light right now, but I can't. It's all ambience.
We can
This
take a
is
lot of it down.
relatively
Let's
fast.
go further down.
This is 640 right now, this
Way down.
camera. It does have a high mode. I can switch to it. It'll go up. I think it's, who's from Panasonic here?
51,000 if you want.
Well, 51,000. Well, you're going to get a bit of noise at that level. But this is a full chip camera. So this is a lens, an FD Canon, made in about 1968. And I just love the fall off. We don't have any lovely things happening in the background there, but you really have a sense of, the Joker was, 2 lenses from this era were used on Joker. Right out of the box, they had to change the rear mounts to make them fit the camera, the Lexus 65. But these things are about $300 or $400 on eBay. It's crazy not to, you know? Yes, if you really want to live with it, you got to have it rehoused because you're going to get focus issues. It bounces a tiny bit when I change back and forth. But for fixed kind of setups like an interview and so on, it's just stunning. And a lot of people are going back. New companies are remanufacturing. I bought a set of Cook Classics, which are a remake of the old, TLS has them all rehoused. Everybody uses them. But the Classics seem to be doing well because they're making all the extra lenses in between. So it's about glass and how it becomes your brush. And then if you really embrace the world of the environment and you're working well with a good production designer and you have the time, it's enormous amount of light can be found. But yes, we have to light. There's no question. But I love the fact that these things begin to present you with different alternatives. And the cool thing is, where is it? We put it here. This one's not a, they have, let me see here, where we get it there. When we get a, yeah, there we go. So you can see how you begin to play with a little slash. It cuts pretty well off this, and this is my new fave.
And you get multiple sources out of one unit.
You can use multiple reflectors in the same head. You can also, of course, one of the neat things is by using a mirror, you double the distance to the subject, so you get less fall off. So someone can walk towards a window when you're coming through a beam system in a mirror. you have much more constancy. They don't blow up when they get to the window, you know. So those kinds of things are fun. And then with a hot little guy like this and the true, they have, this is a number 3, probably need a number 1. You don't have a little number 1, do you? He's going to run off and get it. Right. Anyhow, do you guys, anyone have any questions? I don't know what my time's like here. You're all in the business. God, you wouldn't have questions.
Well, let me ask you, your father was a photographer, and now
Yeah.
your son is carrying on. He's a filmmaker.
Yeah, my
isn't he? Robin?
son, he's on the world's most expensive movie right now. Avatar.
Ah,
He got in love with 3D, so he's going back to New Zealand taking the grandkids, sadly. But I'm surprised by the grandkids because I can see them better now. Thank you. So the cool thing is if you get the set of these guys, you can begin to play with quite aggressive shadow, contrast. You can start to do bad things if you know, but all of that is, it's a little fiddly maybe, but it's really something to have in your pocket to play with. And as I say, I did watch Conrad Hall use a mirror like this, and he would just take it up and he would just save it on the chest or around the collar or around the ear, and he loved that as a tool. So I don't know. I've done my bit here, I think. Unless you guys have any other questions. How's our time? Good?
we're about done actually.
Yeah.
So, you good?
Okay. I'm good. Thank
So
you
let's
for
hear
listening.
it very much for
Thank you.
Rodney Charters, ASC. That was great. Thank you so much.
I know you're welcome.